To AI consultancy service. I'm going to show you how you can get some free money. And I don't think anyone would say no to free money. It's kind of very useful. So I'm going to show you how to double your sales with automated appointments using digital agents. This is a typical website funnel. I do not like the way Zoom does things. Right. The visitor lands on your company homepage, and that is the most common thing that happens with a website visitor, is they arrive on a company homepage. The vast majority of websites have a very complex and quite large homepage with lots of links to click on, lots of things to do. The downside to that is the more things you give your customer to do, the more likely they are to do the wrong thing. It's just a simple fact. It's not like we're trying to sell on Amazon. We're actually trying to get people to take an action. Usually that will be to complete a contact form or to buy something. But 9 times out of 10, we all seem to think that it's a good idea to send them to this homepage where they get totally confused. So if we're lucky, they might fill out a contact form. And when they fill out a contact form, what normally happens, based on some research I did, I found that the average response time is 47 hours. So needless to say, if that's you making an inquiry to a customer or a customer's making an inquiry to you, there's a fair chance that by the time that you've got back to them, they've gone somewhere else. Doesn't really send a great message to the customer, but I've taken that across every industry. So some might be better, some might be worse, but there are, I've had personal experience where I've left a contact form and even after 12 months, they still haven't bothered to get back to me. So clearly they don't work that well. And what would happen is the visitor abandons the site and doesn't become a lead, or they go to your competitor. And now we're going to see if this works. Oh, flipping heck. But that means there's a lot of lost opportunity. It means we get a low conversion rate. Roughly 2% of people who come to our website actually end up becoming a customer. So therefore, we have to keep getting more and more leads to get more and more people to come, because we're only getting 2%, which means that we can't monitor the website. We don't know what's going on. We don't sit there watching the website all the time. And even if we did, we need days off. We get sick. We just basically can't be there all the time for our customers. And that means we're losing sales to our online competitors who've got better technology. This is the effect of having a digital agent, and a digital agent can improve things quite significantly. It means that on average, a digital agent can convert 5 to 10% of your visitors into sales, which when you consider we're getting 2% and 5%, we've doubled it, maybe trebled it, possibly even quadrupled it. And that is per 100 visitors. So you imagine that's a significant level of growth just by being more efficient. And so how do we do that? We identify the sales processes that are currently being used, and we look at what they're doing and how we can improve that process by using a digital agent. We then implement the digital agent, which can qualify the leads 24/7, so it can have a conversation with your clients, even if you're not there. And then using the AI, we're able to analyze the data and identify and qualify the leads to prioritize those that need immediate attention, those that need less immediate attention, and those that, quite honestly, aren't really a lead at all. And then we can do this 24/7, which means that we don't lose customers when we're closed, we don't lose customers when we're on holiday, and we don't lose customers even when we're busy. So how does that work? We can automate appointment scheduling within the digital agent. So if we want, we can send them directly to a CRM system, we can send them to a calendar, or we can book them into things like Google Calendar, Outlook, or whatever we want them to do in order to take that next step. Sometimes it might be to send them to a salesperson, and other times it might be literally to book them in ready for whatever the appointment is, depending on the business. And then we look at how we can continuously optimize and iterate, which iterate is a word that they use in tech words. And it basically means we keep making little fine adjustments to make sure we get exactly what we want from our digital agent. So what can digital agents do for your business? They can schedule weekly meetings. They can schedule meetings with individual clients. They can schedule meetings indeed with each other. They can qualify leads instantly, so they can give, as long as you give them the right information, they know whether it's a good lead, whether it's not a good lead. So therefore, maybe it needs more information. Maybe you need to send it make more touches with that lead, or alternatively, it might be a case of just literally we'll book the lead and then follow it up with a human at some point in the future. And then we can personalize the outreach. So the more we know about our customer in a human-like way during a conversation with the AI agent, we're able to see what is important to the customer and deliver them a much more superior customer service. So how can digital agents enhance customer support? Well, they can handle high volume. A digital agent can handle an innumerable number of basic customer inquiries all at once. So if 20 customers all came to your website and tried to make inquiries, if you were dealing with that on a one-to-one basis, it would be an absolute nightmare, even if you had staff. But the digital agent handles each inquiry all at the same time. The digital agent is available 24/7, as I said, and can provide an instant response to a common question. They can provide accurate response, provided they're giving correct information. And they can learn to recognize when a human agent, one of us, is needed, and we can enable a smooth handoff. So there may be a question that just is beyond the ability of the digital agent, and therefore it's probably means that it's a buying signal as well. So it's probably important that it's then dealt with by a human. And the interactions can get much more data and get much more answers for questions than often even a form or a human even can get, because people quite enjoy talking to these things. And a digital agent will reduce customer costs and customer support costs considerably, because it can handle the routine stuff that you're probably paying staff to do, and they can be used more effectively elsewhere. It can save you time and money because it can automate tasks. It can send notifications. So if you get an appointment, they can send you a notification, perhaps to your phone or perhaps to your email address. It can deal with other routine tasks, things that people don't really want to do but need to be done when it comes to customer service. And then it can handle data entry. Provided you put the data in, it can bring the data back out. It can engage your website visitors to qualify leads and automate appointments. Literally, a digital agent engages people on your website, on your social media, can even be used again with a link for your emails and for your LinkedIn and things like that. So it starts the engagement and starts that conversation. And then what happens, it can book the appointment into your calendar, into wherever you need it to be. And then we create what we call an automated sales funnel. Effectively, we don't even need to be in this sales funnel until it becomes it's possible to become a sale. The other important thing is we don't want to waste loads of time talking with people who aren't qualified. The more qualified people are, the better. So what we want to do is ask those qualification questions with our digital agents. So are you able to spend, for example, if we sell something that's £1,000 and we say, what's your budget? And they say 500, the chances are they're probably not ready at this stage to make that following step. But then again, maybe we need to give them more information. And then we don't spend ages on what I would call discovery calls, talking to people who aren't properly qualified. And you could lose many hours in a week just by talking to people who aren't qualified. If you could reduce that number of hours, not either you could have more qualified quality calls, or alternatively, you could be in a situation where you can get on and do something else. You're not wasting your time with time wasters effectively. It can also gather data. One of the really important things is it can survey your customers. So it can ask them based on their preferences, their demographics, all sorts of things. Provided it's in a human-like chatty way, people are more than happy to give that information, far more so than they are if you put it on a form. If you get a long form somebody has to fill out, their first thought is, I don't want to do this. But when you're having a conversation, you're quite happy to give that information out. Excuse me. You can leverage the AI and the machine learning to uncover patterns and insights from the data that's collected. So if certain keywords get used, it will recognize these keywords, and it might mean you can adjust things in your business. So for example, a word that might come up might be you know, I can't think of an obvious example, but there may be words that come up in your relevant businesses that you're not addressing on your website, or there's questions and queries that everybody asks, but nobody seems to know the answer to. So by having these answers and knowing these questions and popular questions, we're able to anticipate them and be able to give our customers answers. And then we can use this data insight to tailor our marketing and our sales interactions with each customer. So instead of what works, we actually know what works, because we can ask them why they came to our website, or what it is that they're looking for, or what do they think about a certain thing, or what's their opinion on certain things. And all of that can be done without us having to ask a single question. Most importantly, we can personalize communication. The digital agent allows people to learn from the interactions, and the digital agent learns from its interactions. So it becomes more and more tailored. It becomes more and more experienced, and therefore it can deliver a better delivery and better customer satisfaction and boost sales. And the most important thing is we keep our customers because they feel wanted. They feel as though they're understood. Right. So let's have a quick look at a digital agent, and I'm hoping that everything isn't going to suddenly crash. Did everybody see everything so far? Yeah. Good. I'm also a bit wary of Zoom. Just wanted to show you what we all think of as a traditional chatbot. Could everybody see that or not? Am I sharing the right screen? No, I'm not. Right. This is what we all think of as a traditional chatbot. It just has a conversation, but it's kind of very it's very, very unfriendly. It's only limited to what it can actually say. It doesn't really have any kind of ability to have a conversation. It's much more a yes, no kind of question. And this is what a digital agent looks like. They can look very plain and basic. In this case, this is one is for an optometrist. So what we have here is we have things like what we call prompters. So we've got things called adult eye test, private eye test, children's private eye test, consultation, medical examination, collection, brands available. So that's, for example, let's go for brands available. So I'm a customer, an inquiry, I want to know. Oh, that's a great start. Okay, I don't know what's happened there. Probably because we're on Zoom. Let's try again. Let's go for children's NHS eye test. I'm hoping Zoom has not played silly. Oh, we go. We're looking to book an NHS eye test. Could you please let me know if you're an existing patient or a new patient looking to register? Say a new patient. Everyone see this okay?
Yeah, so Brian, sorry to disturb you. So you mean the automated robot which previously you showed to us was like automated answers, but this is AI more human.
Yeah.
Which is,
Yeah.
answering to the potential customers.
Yes.
And more humanized. Am I right?
That's the thing. Yeah. So as you can see, the difference between the original chatbot and this is actually having a conversation with us. So it's asking me for my name. So we'll give it my name. So asks for my name, I give it my name. It asks for my child's name, which I haven't got, but we'll call her Sally. And they want Sally's date of birth, and I don't know. 23rd of the 3rd, 2003. 20. Right, okay. Yep, I think there probably was a mix-up. So you see, it actually recognized that I didn't know what I was doing. So it would go like that. So the 20th of the 3rd, 2021. So she's 3. So chances are she doesn't need I. Could you please provide the full address? So I make that up. Anywhere street. Anywhere. TR4 5TY. And I got the address, and now it wants my number. So I give it my number. And we would set this up. So obviously its parameters are more controlled. And it seems that the contact number is a bit longer than expected, you see. So what it's saying is the number is too long. So it knows that I've made a mistake. So, and it'll probably say I've made another mistake. Yeah, it's happy because it knows that it recognizes the dash. right? And then graham@gmail.com. As you can see, it's thinking, not exactly thinking, obviously, because it's not a human, but it's kind of knows what it knows and it knows what it needs to know. So it's now asking questions about eyesight. These are the things it needs to know. So
sorry, Graham, that's existing AI system right now as showing us. Am I right?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. So this is an AI chat agent. It's basically using AI to come up with the answers which we've given it the information in the first place. So it's kind of programmed as opposed to it's just set conversation. So it adjusts as and when I ask it questions. So it asked me when I want and I want next Wednesday. Oh, dear.
So basically, if I make a bookings with AI assistant and I might change my schedule and some appointment needs to be changed as well, can I ask AI to change my appointment?
Yes, that's the general idea. So what would happen is, you would basically go back to the web page or contact or the AI directly, and the AI would then rebook the appointment based on the original appointment and cancel the original appointment.
And it's working 24/7 for any kind of customers.
All the time, 24/7. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, and we can also make them look quite pretty. So this one, like this for a vet. I'm looking to register to become a new client. I mean, in principle, the ideas are similar, but I mean, it can pretty much do anything. But I've just kind of picked a couple of examples. So it wants my name. But the important thing is it's collecting data that you want it to get. So if you you obviously would need name, but say you wanted other data, it can collect that as well. And indeed, it doesn't have to be data collection. It could be information. It could be just customer support. It could literally be returns, say, of a product or booking like a fitting or anything like that. It doesn't have to be. It's very much what you need it to do. And the important thing is you may need more than one depending on what processes you want it to do. Because obviously, if people come to your web page and they're starting to look at certain things, there may be a more appropriate method or type of answer they're looking for.
Those examples more likely are like a customer service. What about the big database? If for example, I've got the big store and I want to order a part which is still not available on the store, do you think it's still AI can think, yes, let me order for you to our local store, etc. Yes. So that kind of information as well is available?
Exactly. Yeah. So what would happen is, say somebody came in to the business online and they said, can I get so and so? And you say, well, currently it's out of stock. We would then be able to send a notification that the product was out of stock to whoever needed to know that. And we'd also be able to say to the customer, look, we'll contact you back for this. And as time goes by, the AI would recognize that message and it would go into say a CRM system to follow up. So everything can be followed up. Yeah. So as you can see, it's kind of like you can either make them quite pretty. These could be branded. So this could be on your website and this could be branded with your customer brand as well. Okay, I will go back to my presentation. Any questions so far?
Can you use any kind of CRM or does it matter?
It doesn't really matter because the CRM's kind of the next step, if you like. We can use APIs because the bot can integrate with an API, but equally, if it doesn't have that API, you could use Zapier and zap things into a CRM, but alternatively, you can also just literally send the link into the CRM so it joins the CRM at that point. So it kind of works both ways. Logically, for the main kind of things like HubSpot and things like that, the API is probably the best route because there is an open API with most systems. Or alternatively, for more, for smaller CRMs or less kind of recognized CRMs, you would probably use something like a Zap into the CRM, or you would third option would be you would have a link to the page in the CRM that you wanted them to go to, so the information was then sent to that. So there's multiple options, and with the development of the AI, these things are changing all the time. So there'll be more and more options. At the moment, a lot of companies haven't made it that easy to input stuff from an external source, and that's kind of why Zapier has made such big inroads. But it's becoming more and more common now to get kind of two things to talk together, because obviously with ChatGPT and AI, it's making that an easier process. It's probably a few steps down the road, but it's certainly coming.
I see. Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm hoping I've got the right slide again. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Cool. Right. Okay. We'll move on. We won't move on because it's not moving. Okay. All right. So we had a quick look at the digital agent. So how does it work? We look at the average sale value of a client in everybody's case, or a customer, depending on how you refer to it, whatever or a patient, depending on what your business is. And then we look at how many, for example, repeat sales you're making. So in some businesses, that might be once a month. In other businesses, that might be once a year, every 2 years. And then we look at your current database, and we look at how many of these people are we contacting, and could we contact them more frequently if we had a process to do that? And a classic example is that we talk to someone once every 2 years. I worked in the optical industry with people, and the average is every 2 years, right? Which means that for 23 months of the year, you don't really have that much to do with them. But it's not necessarily that they don't want to buy something. It's the fact that nobody actually contacts them and asks them. Because I tested this theory with a client, and what happened is we did £27,500 worth of iSales in 1 month from a very small business, because we actually asked people, do you want to buy something else? And very rarely do we do that. It doesn't always have to be a sales message, though. Sometimes, like, for example, say you ran a physiotherapist or something like that, you might just send a message, did you manage to get your back sorted out, if they didn't come back for whatever reason? Or how are you feeling at the moment? And if they're still struggling, chances are you now potentially have a new customer. And it's because we don't have the facility generally to communicate with customers that frequently, because it's a time-consuming thing. And also, even if we do communicate with them, we've then got to wait for them to come back to us, or we've got to chase them on the phone. Well, when we use AI, we can set it up so they can reply to us via text messaging and through the AI, and effectively that we can start conversations. And the more conversations we have with customers, the more chance we're likely to make sales. And that's what we refer to as the low-hanging fruit. And there are a lot of low-hanging fruit in every business, but we just help you find them and exploit them, if you like, using AI. We then look at how the AI can be injected into your business. How can it give you a potential sales boost? Can it improve things like your email system, your messenger system, your texting? Can it work effectively on a web page, or does it work better on a landing page in your case? Or are you missing opportunities because of your social medias not getting replied to and things like that? Or maybe you've got marketing on other sites, and what happens is you get inquiries come through, but you have no way of really knowing, one, where they've come from, and more importantly, you have no way of getting back to these people when they come without coming to your website. They might click on a link and then come to you. They might then pick up the phone. The phone might be engaged. With AI, all of those things can be put, basically, we can stop all of those leaks in the system and make it far more efficient. And then we look at what is the right service for your business. So we look at which digital agents work. So for this, in these cases, I've just shown you mainly kind of lead capture, but there might be cases where we're looking at giving customers information, much more information. And as long as we put that information into the system can bring it back out again. And then we look at designing for use. So in this case, I've just shown a standalone AI agent, but they can be implemented onto your website. They can be used with, as I said, with a link on your emails, things like that. And you can see they can be a little bit kind of custom. I actually created the picture using AI as well, so I'm no artist. And we can then test and what we call iterate, checking periodically to see if it's doing its job, and if it's where it starts to not do the job that we want it to do, i.e. it's not giving us the information that we require, we just make minor adjustments and improve it all the time. So it's a bit like a member of staff. It learns a bit more and a bit more and a bit more, and it improves. And most importantly, we know that we look for the AI agents that we know are compliant and secure, because we have things like GDPR and HIPAA in the States. We need things where we can make sure we only ask questions that are appropriate for the levels of security that we have. And a very big one is future-proofing. It's only a matter of about 8 months ago, we had ChatGPT 3.5, which was generally available and free. But now we are looking at 4.5, and 5 is very much round the corner. And we don't want people to get an AI agent that's going to be out of date in 3 months' time. And that's the speed how things are going. So what we look at is how things can be easily updated. So that's why we source the right companies to make sure that you're not sat with an old-fashioned old chatbot that basically doesn't do the job you want it to do 6 months down the road, 3 months down the road, in fact, probably weeks down the road, the way AI has been developed. And then we look at how we can increase sales. And these are the things we're looking for, every opportunity to make this thing make you money, and how it can improve your customer service. Great customer service is one of the biggest winners of business. One of the things I always work with a client when we first start is their customer reputation. Well, if you could ask every customer a questionnaire, for example, or ask them for a referral after you've spoken to them via an AI, then you would then be able to build and build and build your popularity and also your reputation within the market. And then we look at the data you're collecting and how we might use that to remarket. What remarketing means is sending the message out again in a different way. So, for example, if you've ever searched for something on Google and you find that you didn't actually find what you wanted, or you, for whatever reason, got interrupted, you'll find the next day, all the adverts are following you around wherever you go. So every time you look online, say, for example, you were looking to buy a washing machine and you didn't buy one at the time. So what would happen is you would keep seeing washing machine adverts because they know that you're now interested in something. Well, you can have your own remarketing system because your AI is collecting all this information and using it to help you remarket. And also we can increase loyalty by asking the right questions and getting people to give their information. They feel loyal to a business. They don't wander off because they don't need to wander off because they can get the answers they need. And also we can put things like offers into our AI agent. We say, for example, it's a new client. We might perhaps offer them an incentive to book an appointment or to purchase something. Whereas generally speaking, we probably can't do that just from a web page because we don't know who's going to come. But by asking the right questions, we can filter who we give what information. I'm hoping some of you have done this before. Does anyone know the average sale in their business? Anyone? Type in the chat. If anyone wants to stay anonymous, can we just get a figure? If not, I'll make one up.
I have got the figures, but not to hand at the moment.
Okay. Does everyone know what that means? Basically, in simple terms, and it's kind of very useful to know. And the reason it's useful to know because it allows you to know how much you can pay to get a customer, right? So if your average sale value is, say, £500, and you work that out by the total sales value you spend in a period of time. I would say a year because that gives you a more accurate measure, but you could do a month, you could do a week. It just gives you an average sales value of how much you make in a period of time. And then you divide that by the number of customers it took to get that value, right? So it's 500 and say there were 10, so the average sales value would be whatever, yeah. So the important thing about that is that sales value identifies how much a customer's worth to you. So moving on to the next part of this equation. So if we say did 500,000 in a year, and obviously for some businesses that's a lot of money, for others that's a very small amount of money in relation to their business. So in this case, we sold to 1,000 customers. That works out at roughly 4 sales a day, right? Based on 260 working days. So our average sale value is £500. So that's how it works in simple terms. So the power of list reactivation by using an AI agent. And the reason I did the customer value equation first was to kind of demonstrate to everybody the importance of it. And I've just realized I spelled reactivation wrong. So what we do, we look at customer reactivation. So we look at building your database. Now you already have a database in most cases. So you have current patients, if you happen to be something like an optician. You have previous patients, people who have bought from you before, but you've not seen them for quite a long while. And in some cases, that could be several years. We have prospects. They're people that maybe made an inquiry, but didn't actually do anything. Or maybe in the case of an optician, they may have had an eye test, but they didn't actually buy any eyewear. Or social media contacts. And often strangely enough, are quite easy to get information from social media if we ask for it. And then there's other contacts, is people that we have in other forms. For example, I work with a carpet cleaning company and had a book full of customers. And he said, well, I can't contact them because they're in a book. I said, well, pay someone like £5 an hour, get them put into some form of spreadsheet or a database, and we can recontact them. And we did, and he has been very happy as Larry, because he is now constantly booked, because he keeps contacting his customers, because they say, why didn't you contact me back? And the main reason was he didn't have a system for doing it. So just imagine this: one additional sale a day, my apologies, in a year. So you can use AI to improve your conversions, as I've spoken about. You can contact your previous customers. You can sell more to your current customers. Often we think of our current customers as just being, they've bought, why would they buy again? But in reality, the truth is that your current customer is nearly 80 times, I think it's 8 times more likely to purchase from you again. One, because they know, like, and trust you. But more importantly, chances are they want to buy other stuff from you. If you, for example, say you sold a camera, they probably need a camera case. They probably need a spare lens. They probably need a tripod. They probably need lighting. They probably need, and well, you get the idea. Basically, is a big, long list of things that you can upsell to somebody if only you offer them. And most people assume that you only ever offer them at the point of initial sale. But if we keep asking our customers and stay in contact with them, i.e. don't sell them, but stay in contact with them, then we can get to the point where at the right time, they're ready to purchase. And one really big one, which I've seen used very, very effectively, is reactivating what I call dormant customers. These are customers that we probably haven't spoken to for many years, right? But some companies have massive databases of customers that they kind of never ever get back to. Well, if you imagine a small percentage of those could be worth an awful lot of money to you. And this is just one additional sale a day. Based on our £500, we could make an additional £130,000 in a single year by making 260 additional sales, one a day. And moving on. So, as I said at the beginning, who wants free money? And we can do that by reactivating the database of dormant clients and prospects, people you hadn't sold to in the first place. You can sell more to your current clients, or you can sell again more often to people and contact them more frequently. So if at the moment you're only contacting someone once a year, or maybe depending on what you're selling, it might only be a one-time transaction, but there may be opportunities to sell again, things like maintenance contracts. And even if you create, say, for example, a roof for someone, it probably wants maintaining. If if you're selling, if you're doing a vet appointment, there's a follow-up each year. Big companies have all the mechanisms in place to do this, but it's much harder for the small business. But now with AI, you can stay in the same game as they do, and you can offer the same quality of service. And just imagine, this can sometimes happen in less than 48 hours, and that's free money. Right. Plus, on top of that, as I've said, the AI can learn to ask questions to get referrals. So if imagine 10% of your customers that you already get now just left you a review or gave you a new referral, that's potentially perhaps another 100 additional sales, and you didn't have to do anything other than ask for them. Here's a couple of consumer buying facts. A 5% increase in client retention can increase your profits by up to 75%. And that seems an incredibly large figure, but if you think about it, it costs that much more to get a new client than it does to get another sale from an existing client. The main reason being is because they know, like, and trust you. So therefore, offering them more and doing that in an automated way means that you don't have to do any more work to do it. It's a perfect way of growing your business without actually having to work any harder. And repeat customers spend 300% more, and apparently these are Harvard research figures, more and purchase more frequently. It's just a simple scientific fact. So you have a choice. The choice is customers will eventually start walking away from you if you don't provide them with the facilities to either buy more from you or to give them better customer service. And if you don't do that, the way the technology is developing is those people who are jumping on the technology are now getting ahead of the game. Companies like Amazon, Tesla, all of these kind of companies are investing huge amounts of money in providing AI in other ways. But we can provide something really, really simple that will bring massive results to smaller businesses and enable them to compete on a level playing field to those with big budgets. The alternative is you can wait for your competitors to celebrate and take your customers away if you don't act fast enough. And acting fast is like getting things done. And what I mean by acting fast, if we look at how the big national retailers said, nobody will ever take our business by being online. Well, as we look at high streets today, we all know what's actually happened. If we go through the high street, it's like a graveyard because big multinational retailers are closing everywhere because they didn't listen to the messages that were being given out that online was the way forward. Well, now AI and customer service improvement and immediate reply are the new internet being online, if you like. It's the next step up. And it's been very, very quick. The rise in conversational AI, which is what we call all this kind of like human-like talk, has been massive. 6 months ago, nobody even knew what it was. Today, conversational AI is as much of a must-have as having a telephone. In fact, in many cases, it's more effective than a telephone. So how do we help businesses with digital AI agents? Detailed business analysis. We look at the business and what you are doing now. What we're not trying to do is reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to get it to run freer and be more effective. And then in some cases, it might require a customized solution because the business might have special requirements that require special things. For example, we take security issues. If you deal with a lot of secure information, other than just names and addresses, which, to be brutally honest, are available everywhere, we ask people to maybe look at slightly customized solutions. We then look at how the agent can handle the installation and the integration of the digital agent into your existing platforms, websites, social media, etc. As we were talking about, how do you get from into the CRM? That's the kind of thing that we investigate while we're looking at what digital agents you require and whether it be one, half a dozen, or whatever, depending on what your need is and your budget is. We train the digital agents, and train is kind of similar to training a human member of staff, but we can train it very quickly. It learns very, very quickly. So the better we train it initially, the more it will know. So the more information we give it that you want it to be able to give out, the more effective it can become. And it can also be updated. And then the digital agent will automate those repetitive tasks, freeing up your employees to focus on high value activities. So instead of them having to answer a phone or to sit there online and type messages to people, which basically are asking about the opening times and things like that, they can be more usefully employed. And by providing a 24-hour service every single day of the year, we get many more opportunities, because people online this day and age expect somebody to reply as quickly online as if they were picking up the phone. Once upon a time, if you sent a text message or you sent a Facebook message, people would just think, oh, well, they'll get back to me sometime in the next few days. But in this day and age, people expect reply. And if you're not replying, they're probably going to look somewhere else. There are different types of AI agents, what we call the off-the-shelf agent. For those on sort of who don't have such complex needs, we've created, like, I suppose, the equivalent of a next of AI agents. So we've kind of customized them to some extent, and then we can kind of add your bit of customization, your website, your documentation, because they can learn things like your documents and that sort of stuff. That's a much easier way to get going quickly. And then we've got more customized implementations depending on your needs. And then we look at a detailed method of what's happening in your business and where AI agents would be appropriate. So, for example, if you get a lot of business from social media, then the chances are that you probably don't even know where your business is coming from. But if you have a good social media presence, now you can have an AI agent. So literally, when somebody sends in a Facebook message, for example, you can reply to that message, perhaps even get the appointment booked before you even know that it's actually happened. And then we can train the digital agents to know the relevant data. So we provide them the information from your business, from your website, so they know what's responsive required based on your customers. And we agree a reasonable amount of budget. So whatever you want to spend, we look to how we can create a digital agent integration required for your business. And then we can always upgrade things if you find that that's improving things. We don't want people to have something that's just basically there and it doesn't do anything for you. So they can be trained to create a steady lead flow. So we've all had the time where we're sitting there looking at a diary and there's nothing there. So somebody has to get on the phone or whatever, or we have to chase people up. Well, if all of that can be done online, and we gear everything to be done online in this day and age, we can create a steady lead flow. So we know more clients are coming through, because we know if we keep getting people to the website, more are converting. And the agent can learn your website. It will learn your website in a matter of minutes. Literally, we can give it the information it requires. We don't need to learn everything on your website, because a lot of stuff on our websites is kind of hidden and buried. Things like the terms of business, they may want basic information, but generally speaking, we probably don't have to tell every single person our terms of business. Another classic one example might be, is there are pages that are kind of there for staff membership. They're not actually there for the general public. So we don't want to teach them every single page. We just want those that are relevant to the customer and the actions they're taking. And it can learn your manuals, online manuals. It can learn your documentation. It can even watch your YouTube videos and take the scripts. And then what we can do, once we've got the scripts, we can feed them the scripts and it will learn. And eventually, I suspect it will be able to actually watch the video itself and take the information straight from the video, as it's becoming more and more intelligent, and it's learning more and more about your business and how you behave with your customers on an ongoing basis. And then you can connect all of your online marketing and your offline marketing, because you can use things like QR codes on your leaflets, on your letters, to get people to start to become more online aware, because they know that there's a digital agent there to deal with things, and they're not just sitting there on the phone getting passed from pillar to post or on hold for hours on end. One really big thing is with the AI agent is it enables us to have the time to do other things, and allows us to improve our marketing in areas by actually where we can see results, rather than we're just doing something for the sake of doing something. Sorry, I caught the button. So there are two options. You can decide to wait for your competitors to get digital agents first and watch how they start to steal your customers from under your nose. Or you can book a call with me or one of my team and see if a digital agent can work for you, and I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. So if you'd like to book an appointment with me, you can book it directly into my calendar, which is Succeed with Graham, revolutionise.com/calendar, and I'd be more than happy to talk through how a digital agent could work for you. All my other details are there. So if you want to take a screenshot or whatever, the information is there. And that's the end of the presentation. Hopefully you've all found it useful. And do we have any questions? Feel free to ask anything.
Sorry, I'm quite impressed of this presentation. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
also seems like this AI agent, it's working both ways. It's looking after the customers on the website. Also it will be our virtual assistant for a business. Am I right?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, in fact, in some businesses, they've been able to kind of, where they've hired virtual assistants, they've been able to use them in other ways because of the fact that currently they're just literally doing things like answering inquiries and stuff like that. The agent can do that. So now they can move these people to other jobs, or alternatively, they can reduce their hours, or they can have them only perhaps in hours where they're needed at peak times or things like that. So yeah, it can be a big cost saving as well.
So in my understanding, potentially it will be in the background. We'll be starting holding the data of the customer preferences,
Yes.
etc. So for related to our business, what the customer needs. So in general, what we can do for example, I believe so in the monthly reporting, we can actually ask our AI assistant what the customer need, what they expect, etc. Am I right?
Yeah, very much so. And we can check, we can look back on the previous conversations as well, because everything is saved in your own private hold, for want of a better word. And you can look and see if anything keeps coming up that you're not addressing for whatever reason. So for example, you have a query that keeps coming up in the conversations with the AI agent that you weren't even perhaps aware that anyone ever asked, because your staff might not have ever mentioned the fact that, oh, well, so-and-so, everybody seems to ask this question. And therefore, it enables you to make changes perhaps to your website. You might want to feature something on your social media. It might be something you want to do a video if you're doing videos on YouTube, things like that. Because obviously, if you can say, for example, say you're marketing on a video, for example, or you're creating a help guide or something like that, and you know what people actually want to know, rather than you just take the kind of run-of-the-mill frequently asked questions that everybody asks, then you can hit those hot buttons, and you also reduce the number of people who will then ring up about certain things or disturb, or want to know more. And people who ask more questions, generally the people who want to buy something, so they're giving you buying signals as well.
Yeah, thank you. That's all questions on my end.
Excellent. Any other questions, please? Anybody? You can unmute yourself if you want to speak, or you can type in the chat. Anyone got anything?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Well, did you find it useful?
Very useful. Yeah. It's really interesting. I don't really, obviously, I'm sort of still very new on the journey, still within, still within my first year, hit my first year in April.
So what do you do, Nadine?
Sorry?
What do you do?
I make essential oil products that target physical and mental health concerns.
See, so one classic way a digital agent could work, I presume you have a website, yeah?
I do, yes.
Right. One classic way it would work for you is it would answer the queries and get the appointments, not appointments as such, more sales when you're not there.
Yeah,
so
that
it
would
could
be
do that kind of thing. And it would pay for itself very, very quickly.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing I need, because I'm still sort of working on my own, and having the time to sort of run a family, look after the animals, do everything that I need to do.
Exactly, run life.
It's incredibly difficult.
Yes. I'm just sending a message to someone because they're just leaving.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, bear with me. Yeah, so yeah, that would be a classic use of you could use it. Where do you generate most of your business from?
Well, at the moment, the website isn't really working. It's
Right.
not generating many sales at all.
Right.
So most of my sales tend to come from trade fairs, craft fairs, things like that. When I
So
go out
say,
and
for
about.
example, you were at a trade fair, yeah,
Mhm.
you don't need a website, which is bizarre. If you've got one, it's fine, but you don't
Yeah.
actually need one, right? So say you were at a trade fair, you
Mhm.
could then give people a QR code or whatever you're giving out. What are you giving out?
They get a business card, they get feedback forms, yeah.
Right. So what you could do is you could set it up so you had it connected either with a QR code, or
Mhm.
alternatively, you could have a phone number that triggered them to the AI agent. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that could then literally give them information as you're standing there talking to them.
Okay.
So
Oh, that would be
imagine the
excellent.
power of that. You're at a trade show and suddenly, could you just scan that card? And they go,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, one, you'll get their information without having to kind of ask for it. Instead
Mhm.
of just giving you, the downside is they just give you a business card, right?
Yeah.
Whereas now even if you're still engaged with them, kind of looking over their shoulder as they're doing it,
Mhm.
right? You're collecting their information. Not only that, they're going to show everybody,
Yeah.
right? They're going to go, yeah, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you seen it? It's like a free ad. I mean,
Okay.
the thing I didn't touch in on at all really is if you imagine if you're the first in your trade show to have that kind of thing and
Mhm.
suddenly you do that, well, everybody wants to see it
Yeah.
because it is so different.
Oh, we'll have to have a chat, most definitely.
Yeah. Have you got
Yeah.
my calendar link? Did you?
I did, yeah. I've got that in the WhatsApp chat, so I'll pop onto that and book something up with you.
Okay, that would be great.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Have you any comments? I think they're muted.
Yeah.
I think so. Thank you very much for
Thank you.
this presentation, and I believe
Yep.
so that's quite useful. I might to contact with you as well related to my business.
Okay, that's great.
And
Yeah.
what will be a roughly price range for a particular AI
It
assistant?
varies. So something like Nadine would want something fairly basic because because she's starting a business. So she could get started for like a few, like £100-ish a month, doing it that way, or you can pay for a kind of a year at one go. And you'd save quite a lot of money doing it that way. And if you've got a bigger business and you want to do things like the database and stuff like that,
Complex
on a
stuff,
bigger
yeah.
level, it would go up. So I mean, the highest clients are paying like 30 grand, but I mean they're running big businesses, whereas your kind of smaller business, it just needs to get something going there really. So yeah, so it's hard to give a figure because it depends. Every use case is different. But we have like packages based on what people generally need, and then we can't customize things if people want more specifics. But yeah, it's really important to get going. You can always upgrade. It's like you don't necessarily go and buy a Ferrari day one.
Would be nice, but hey.
Yeah. But yeah, so people, yeah, the whole point is that we make it accessible, because I think that's really important, because it's not always about big business. Because if yeah, I obviously we like dealing with big businesses, but the reality is it's about giving people the opportunity to get it now and do stuff and come back with the answer.
Exactly.
I don't know, because they only have a very narrow field. Whereas it can learn your entire website in minutes.
Yeah.
And the more information you give it, within reason, I mean, you don't want to give it kind of like Encyclopedia Britannica, but the more information you give it, the more it will know about your business. But you only give it relevant things, because there's no point in teaching it stuff it doesn't need to know. But the other important thing is the reply is very, very quick. But it feels like you're having a conversation with someone, as opposed to, as you said, the old style chatbot is kind of like, well, hang on, no, I didn't mean that. Why are you telling me that? Yeah. Yeah. Larry, what do you do?
Well, presently I'm in training for through AWAI to be a copyright writer.
Oh, right,
So
you're a
I'm
copywriter.
just mainly curious,
Yeah.
and so I learned some things today. It was very interesting.
Yeah. That's an interesting business, the copywriting.
Well, I'm only 82, so I'm just starting
And you've
something
been doing it a
new.
good while. Yeah.
Trying to
Yeah,
stay busy, keep my mind active.
Yeah.
when this business is up and off the ground and running properly, my next one is writing a book.
Yeah. You have to talk to Larry.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mavisha's got a microphone, maybe not. I don't know.
Sure.
No, it doesn't appear to be.
No. Anyway, so
Right.
Jersey, what do you do?
I'm most likely a test analyst with API, XML file for warehouse automation processes. Also, I've got my own business which is more likely with the e-commerce. So I've started as well. So basically, I'm looking for the website which might to catch up potential customers, which maybe might be interesting for something else. So the chatbots are just make me furious. I don't like the
Crazy.
chatbots. I think AI, it would be a future to looking after your business.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
Definitely.
That would be quite interesting. I will catch up with you, Brian, later on, and if you might to show me some examples of
Yeah,
the
sure.
optician business.